Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in. Today you're going to need 2 blocks, a strap, and a blanket. I have a towel. I don't have a blanket with me, so a towel, a thick towel would work. And a strap, you can get a belt. If you don't have a strap, that would work as well. And 2 blocks would be preferable. If you don't have those, you can have 2 thick books would work as well. Great, so today we're going to be working on the extension and the flexion of the spine, and as well as the hips, and finding the tilt of the pelvis and how that kind of affects the spine. So we'll be doing a lot of core work today. Great, so we'll get started. You're going to take your blanket or your towel and just lay it out in the center of your mat just for a little extra padding. So you'll unfold it so there's at least one fold. And then you're going to come to sit on the edge of the blanket, and we'll quickly prep our strap. So you're going to make a loop. That's great. So you'll make a loop. And once you have that loop, start to bring both legs in between the loop, and you're going to pull it as tight until when you press your legs or your shins press into the strap, your feet are about hip width distance or outer hip width distance. So you want to pull it pretty tight. And again, the strap will be on the shins. Great. So once you have that, keep the strap where it's at. You're going to lay down onto your back and take a block with you so that you have it in reach. And then once you lay down, knees are bent, plant your feet, knees are up towards the ceiling, and then have your arms by your sides. Great, and then come to your breath, take a deep inhale, and let your belly expand. And then on the exhale, let your belly drop down towards your mat. So your low back will start to become flush to the blanket. Inhale, belly extends up. Release your breath, belly button to the spine. Perhaps your low back is flush to the blanket. Great. Take about 2 more rounds of breath like that. Then keep pressing into the strap so that you make the strap taut or keep it taut. From here, you can connect the breath to movement. On the inhale, you're going to tilt your pelvis down, so find an anterior tilt. And as you do so, notice your low back will lift, your chin may come closer to your chest. And then on the exhale, you're going to tilt your pelvis up. It may even lift slightly off of the floor. And then perhaps your head comes back towards the back of your space. So inhale, tilt your pelvis down, low back lifts. And then exhale, tilt your pelvis up. Low back may lift off of the floor, or pelvis will lift off the floor. So keep moving through these anterior and posterior tilts of the pelvis. And as you do so, again, notice how it affects the rest of your spine and all the way up into your head. So perhaps your head will nod back and forth like yes and no. So as you lift your pelvis up, posterior tilt, the chin comes away from the chest, and as you tilt your pelvis down, the chin comes closer to your chest. Take about 3 more rounds like that. Take 1 more round. When you're finished, take an inhale, lift your pelvis up. Then on the exhale, slowly drape your pelvis and low back down. So tailbone towards the front of your space, and then find somewhere in between a posterior and anterior tilt of the pelvis. So your pelvis is pretty much neutral, as neutral as possible. And then you're going to take your block, Bring it in between your palms, so your palms are on the shortest edge, and then reach the block up overhead. Great, and I want you to press your palms in the block rather than gripping it so that you feel this in the deltoids and in the shoulder. And then you're going to lift your knees up and bring your knees over your hips, flex your feet, and have your shins parallel to the floor. And here, again, press your shins into the strap, your lower legs, so that you feel the engagement in the abductors, the outer hips. Great, stay here, plug your low back down, inhale. Keep your legs wherever they are. On the exhale, you're going to slowly reach your block back like you're coming into Urdhva Hastasana. Hug your navel in, and then exhale, bring the block up. All right, 4 more times like that. Inhale, reach the block all the way back, stay taut in the arms, and then exhale, bring the block up. 3 more times on your own. Connect breath to movement. Inhale, reach back. And then exhale, reach up. Okay, keep going. One more time. All right, reach your block up. This time you're going to keep your block reaching up, and then take a nice deep inhale, press your low back down, keep your knees bent. On the exhale, start to lower your heels to the floor. Inhale, you're going to bring the knees back up, legs back up over the hips, and then exhale, lower the knees down, getting into the lower abdominal. Take this 3 more times. Perhaps you tap the heels towards the floor. Keep the low back suction cup down and towards your blanket and towards the mat. One more time. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale, you're going to lower your feet down and lower the block onto your belly, arms by your sides, and then take 3 deep belly breaths for a little rest. All right, we're going to come back to that shape, so palm your block, reach the block overhead, and then bring your knees over your hips, shins parallel to the floor. Flex your feet, so press through the heels of your feet. Take a nice deep inhale, press your low back down. We're going to bring both movements together. On the exhale, reach your block all the way back and your heels towards the floor. And then inhale, reach back up. All right, 4 more times like that. Inhale, take your time. Low back stays on the mat. And exhale, come back up. Keep the knees bent. 3 more times on your own. One more time. All right, when you're finished, slowly lower your feet down. You can set the block off to the side. And then bring your knees in towards your chest. Take the strap off. Again, you can set that off to the side, and you won't be coming back towards it, so you can kind of remove it away from your space. Bring your knees in towards your chest, grab for underneath the knees, and start to roll back and forth the length of your spine. And take a few rolls. And the next time you come up, you're going to cross your shins, plant your hands, and come into a tabletop position with your knees on the blanket, palms in front of the blanket. If you have a big blanket, then palms can be on it if that's what suits you. And then come to the tops of your feet. Inhale, cow pose, drop your belly gaze up. And exhale, cat, tilt your pelvis down, dome your spine, gaze inward. Great, and move through about 6 more rounds of cat-cow. And again, we're focusing on the tilt of the pelvis and how that affects the movement of the spine. So let the movement stem from the tilt of your pelvis. And then the rest of the movement kind of waves off of that tilt up into your cervical spine. So you should feel a slight engagement in your abdominals as well as low back as you move back and forth. All right, take 2 more rounds. When you're finished, inhale, tilt your pelvis up, gaze up, cow, and then exhale, sit your hips all the way back to a child's pose. Big toes together to touch, knees wide, arms forward. And take a few rounds of breath, about 3 more. And then let your belly on the inhale drop in between your thighs. So expand in the abdominal, and exhale, let your belly contract back into the spine. We're going to begin with one sound of Om. So exhale out any stale air, stay in child's pose. Take a nice deep inhale through the nose. Just bask in the vibrations, the grounding, stable vibrations of Om. Okay, so you're going to stay in this child's pose, and we're going to find cat-cow movement in child's pose. So on the inhale, tilt your pelvis up, gaze up, stay low, hands may naturally slide forward. And on the exhale, you're going to tilt your pelvis down, hands will slide back and dome your spine. So inhale, tilt your pelvis up, gaze up, hands slide forward. Exhale, tilt your pelvis down, stay low, hug your navel in. 2 more times like that. Inhale, tilt the pelvis up, gaze up. Exhale, tilt the pelvis down. Posterior tilt, gaze inward. Last time, inhale. Hands slide forward. This time on the exhale, tilt the pelvis down. Hands slide all the way back. Start to rise up. Hands come towards your feet. And then inhale, find a back bend. Press into your fingertips. Keep your hips on your heels. Hug your shoulder blades in. Wrap your armpits forward. Gaze up. Take 1 more inhale. On the exhale, bring your chin to your chest. Dome your spine, tilt your pelvis forward, hands slide forward to a tabletop position. Inhale, cow pose, drop your belly, gaze up. Exhale, cat, tilt your pelvis down, gaze inward. Inhale, cow, tuck your toes. Exhale, downward facing dog, lead from your hips. Great, now we'll stay in down dog for a few rounds of breath. It may be a bit narrow, so you can walk your hands forward if you'd like. But try to keep your hips lifted. Wrap your armpits in. Hug your navel in. You can bend your knees if you'd like, or press the back of your thighs towards the back of your space. Get a stretch in the back line of the legs. Okay, take one last exhale. Inhale, chin to chest, lift your heels, roll yourself into plank pose. On the exhale, bend your knees to hover about 2 inches off the mat. Hovering tabletop, your knees may be a little bit farther back than your hips. And then stay here, inhale, tilt your pelvis up, gaze up. Exhale, tilt your pelvis down, hug your navel in, gaze inward. One more time like that. Inhale, tilt your pelvis up, gaze up. Exhale, tilt your pelvis down. Bring your right knee towards your chest, straighten the left leg. Inhale, 3-leg down dog. Lift your right leg up. And then exhale, open up your right hip and bend your knee. Wrap your right armpit down to level with the left. And then kick your right heel towards your glute and see if you can lift your knee up a little bit higher. Inhale, straighten the right leg, square off the hip. Exhale, low lunge. Step your right foot to your right thumb tip. Inhale, straighten the right leg, find a flat back. And exhale, fold forward for a wide pyramid pose. Press your left heel back to lengthen again the back line of the left leg. And then press into the big toe mound of your right foot. And see if you can use that energy to wrap your right hip back. Release your neck. Inhale, bend the right knee, low lunge, plant your left palm. Exhale, low lunge, twist, reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Lift the back thigh bone up, energize the back leg, and then see if you can lift the left hip up to meet the right and twist open from the rib cage. Maybe gaze up. Inhale, extend your right arm over your ear. Exhale, plant your hands to frame your front foot. Inhale, step the right foot back, plank pose. Exhale, drop your knees down and back for a knee plank. Inhale, hug your navel in. Exhale, slowly lower to your belly through chaturanga arms. Come to the tops of your feet. Inhale, low cobra pose. Press into the tops of your feet. Little to no weight on the hands. Hug your elbows in and then press your pelvis down. Lift up. Inhale. Exhale, plant your palms. Sit your hips back. Child's pose. Big toes together to touch, knees wide. Great. We're going to do those child's pose cat-cow. So inhale, tilt your pelvis up. Gaze up, hand slide forward. And just once, exhale, tilt your pelvis down, hand slide back, dome your spine. Stay low, one more time, inhale, tilt the pelvis up, hand slide back. This time, exhale, tilt your pelvis forward, hand slide all the way back towards your feet, plant your fingertips, inhale, back bend, maybe lift your pelvis up. Exhale, lower the pelvis down, chin to chest, dome the spine, hand slide forward to tabletop. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, tuck your toes, cow. Exhale, downward facing dog, lift your hips up. Inhale, roll to plank pose like a snake, head comes up last. Exhale, bend your knees to hover 2 inches off the mat, hovering tabletop. Hug your navel in. Inhale, tilt the pelvis up. Gaze up, cow, cat. Exhale, cat pose. Tilt your pelvis forward. Gaze inward. Press the floor away. One more time. Inhale, stay hovering. Tilt the pelvis up. Exhale, catch your spine. Bring your left knee towards your chest. Inhale, 3-leg down dog. Lift the left leg high. Exhale, open up the hip. Bend your knee. And wrap your left armpit down to parallel with the right. And then kick your left heel towards your glute. See if you can lift the knee up a little higher. Find a little more length in the hip flexor. Inhale, straighten the left leg, square off the hip. Exhale, low lunge, left foot to left thumb tip. Inhale, straighten the left leg, find a flat back. Exhale, fold forward for a wide pyramid. Press your right heel back to lengthen the back leg. And then press into the big toe mound of your left foot and use that energy to wrap the left hip back. Inhale, bend the left knee, low lunge. Plant your right palm. Exhale, low lunge twist. Reach your left arm up. Lift the right hip up to meet the left. And see if you can twist open from the navel. Spin your rib cage to the left. Inhale, extend your left arm over your ear. Exhale, plant your left palm down. Inhale, step back, plank pose. You can either keep your knees lifted or drop them down and back. And on the exhale, through chaturanga, bend your elbows back. Lower to your belly. Come to the tops of your feet. Inhale, low cobra. And then exhale, sit your hips back. Child's pose. All right, we're gonna move through each side, breath to movement. And I want you to really feel kind of slithery like a snake, really get into the spine and the pelvic tilt, hug your navel in. And we're gonna start, inhale, cat pose, or cow pose, drop your belly, gaze up, hands slide forward. And then exhale, tilt your pelvis down, hands slide back, dome your spine, stay low. One more time, inhale. And then exhale, tilt your pelvis down, hands slide all the way back towards your feet. Inhale, back bend, maybe lift your pelvis up. Exhale, lower your pelvis, chin to chest, slither your way into a cow pose. Inhale, drop your belly, gaze up. Exhale, cat, dome your spine, gaze inward. Inhale, tuck your toes, drop your belly. Exhale, downward facing dog, lift your hips up. Inhale, roll to plank, lift the heels, head comes up last. Exhale, drop your knees to hover 2 inches off the mat. Inhale, tilt your pelvis up, gaze up, cow. Exhale, tilt your pelvis down, dome your spine, gaze inward. One more time, inhale, tilt the pelvis up. Exhale, dome the spine, right knee to chest, straighten the left leg. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, open up your hip, bend your knee. Inhale, straighten the right leg, square off the hip. Exhale, low lunge, step your right foot to your right thumb tip. Inhale, straighten the right leg, square off the hip. Exhale, low or forward fold, wide pyramid. Inhale, bend the right knee, low lunge, plant your left palm. Exhale, low lunge twist, reach your right arm up. Inhale, extend your right arm over your ear. Exhale, plant your hands to frame your front foot. Inhale, step back, plank pose. Exhale, lower to your belly, bend your elbows back. Come to the tops of your feet. Inhale, cobra of any size, maybe straighten your arms a little more. Exhale, sit your hips back. Child's pose, big toes together to touch. Inhale, stay low, tilt your pelvis up, gaze up. Exhale, slide your hands all the way back towards your feet, dome your spine. Inhale, back bend, plant your fingertips, lift your hips. Exhale, drop your hips, chin to chest, dome your spine and wave into a tabletop. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow, tuck your toes. Exhale, downward facing dog, lift your hips up. Inhale, roll to plank pose, head comes up last. Exhale, bend your knees to hover, hovering tabletop. Inhale, tilt your pelvis up, gaze up. Exhale, tilt your pelvis down, scoop your belly. One more time, inhale. Exhale, bring your left knee to your chest, straighten the right leg. Inhale, 3-leg down dog. Exhale, open up the hip, bend your knee. Inhale, straighten left leg, square off the hip. Exhale, low lunge, left foot to left thumb tip. Inhale, straighten left leg, find a flat back. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, bend the left knee, low lunge, plant your right palm. Exhale, low lunge twist, reach your left arm up. Inhale, extend your left arm over your ear. Exhale, plant your hands to frame your front foot. Inhale, step the left foot back, plank pose. Exhale, lower to your belly, bend your elbows back. Come to the tops of your feet. Inhale, cobra of any size, maybe upward facing dog. And then exhale, drop your knees, sit your hips back, child's pose. Tuck your toes on the inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your hips up. And then gaze forward and start to walk to the top of your mat. Okay, once you're there, you can set your blanket or towel off to the side. Have your feet about hip width distance or however you like for a Sunday practice, and bend your knees, release your arms, slowly roll up to stand. Let your head hang heavy, anchor your tailbone down, head comes up rest. All right, we're gonna take 3 rounds of Sun A. First one together. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, reach your arms up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, plant your hands, step back into a plank pose. Inhale, inch forward. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana, halfway plank this time. Bend the elbows back, chest forward. Inhale, up dog. Lift your chest up. Roll your shoulder heads back, lift the knees. And then exhale, downward facing dog for 3 rounds of breath. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Inhale, gaze forward, bend your knees. Exhale, hop or step to the top of your mat. Find a half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up. And then exhale, Tadasana, arms to the sides. 2 more rounds on your own. Take your time. Feel free to come to a child's pose if you like. Whatever you need during this time. Just keep moving or resting. You should be coming on to your last round. Then feel free to meet in a child's pose if you're done early, but we will eventually be meeting at the top of the mat in a Tadasana. So again, you can meet in child's pose, Tadasana, forward fold. Take your time, you have about 5 more rounds of breath. Right, start to make your way into a Tadasana. All right, so we'll meet at the top of the mat. Fix my mat up. You're gonna take both of your blocks. I'll face you. You're gonna take one of your blocks, bring them in between your thighs as high as up they can go, and once you do that, your feet should be about hip width or outer hip width distance, depending on your anatomy. And then you're going to take the other block in between your palms. My block may get lost overhead because of the space, but know that my block is in between my palms like we did at the beginning, and then inhale, you're going to reach the block up. Urdhva Hastasana. We're going to stay here for about 6 rounds of breath. Breathe. Take your time with the breath, And as we're here, plug your inner thighs into the block. Find a slight internal rotation of the thighs. And as you do so, notice how that affects the pelvis. For me, I get a little bit longer in the low back. My front navel hugs in, so there's activation in the abdominals. And then again, reach the block overhead, stay long in the side body. About 4 more rounds of breath. You can close your eyes here. Just want you to feel as engaged as possible standing in Urdhva Hastasana. You want to plug your heels, your big toe mound, the pinky toe mound down. Energize in the legs, in the navel, in the shoulders, in the arms. Okay, take one more inhale. You can open your eyes. Bend your knees slightly. On the exhale, reach the block forward. And we're going to forward fold. Try to maintain a flat spine. Hug your navel in. Once you lower down, set the block off to the side in between your hands. And then you'll set the other block off to the side. And then we'll actually set ourselves up with our hands on blocks on the medium height in a downward facing dog. So take your blocks where your hands would be for down dog. Bring your palms onto the blocks. Step your right foot back, low lunge. Step your left foot back, plank pose. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your hips up. And while we're here, just notice how the height of the blocks on your hands changes your down dog. For me, I can get my entire sole of the foot on the floor, but perhaps you're a little shorter in the side waist. So see if you can lift your hips all the way up, press into the blocks to get the length in the side waist. All right, inhale, extend your right leg high. Exhale, low lunge, step your right foot to your right thumb tip inside the right block. Great, now you're gonna grab your blocks. Inhale, rise up to a high lunge and connect your blocks overhead. This time you can grip the block rather than pressing into your palm, but I want you to use the blocks as a reminder to reach your arms all the way up. Lift the back thigh bone up, square off the hips, hug your navel in, bend a little bit deeper in the front knee. Take one more, inhale. Exhale, open up into a warrior two. Blocks face down. Bend into the front knee, plug into the pinky edge of the back foot. Use the blocks, again, as a reminder to stay energized in the arm all the way into the shoulder. You should feel some activation in the medial deltoid. Take one last exhale. Inhale, you're going to straighten the front leg, reach your blocks up, and then flex the right foot towards your face. Exhale, you're going to point the right foot, bend back into warrior two, and tee out the arms. 2 more times like that. Inhale, straighten and flex, arms up. Exhale, point and bend. Take your time one more time. Inhale, straighten and flex. Exhale, point and bend. This time you're going to inhale, straighten and flex. Spin your toes over to the left. Parallel the feet, bring your blocks to heart center. Inhale, puff up your chest, tilt your pelvis forward. And then exhale, Prasarita Padottanasana, fold forward. Set the blocks off to the side. Wide leg forward fold. You can grab for the pinky edges of your feet. And then use that, bend your elbows, use your bicep strength to bring the crown of the head closer to the floor. If you need, you can bend your knees slightly, but bring the weight into the balls of the feet. Keep your heels grounded and see if you can lift your hips up a little bit higher. All right, inhale, half lift. Bring your hands back to the blocks on the medium height. Exhale, low lunge. Crawl your blocks forward to frame your front foot at the top of the mat. Inhale, step the right foot back, plank pose. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, up dog. Again, use the blocks, get a little more height in your up dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Great, now inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, low lunge, left foot to left thumb tip inside the left block. Inhale, high lunge. Reach the blocks up overhead, connect them. Lift the right thigh bone up. Wrap the right hip forward, left hip back. Stay long in the side waist. Inhale. Exhale, open up to warrior two. Tee out your arms. Blocks are parallel to each other on either side of your torso. Press into the pinky edge of your back foot. Stay long in the side waist. And keep that energy in your arms. Inhale, you're going to straighten the front leg. Reach your blocks up, flex the front foot. Exhale, bend or point the left foot. Bend your knee, warrior two, tee out the arms. 2 more times. Inhale, straighten and flex. Exhale, point and bend. 1 more time. Inhale, straighten, flex, arms up. Exhale, point and bend. Your arms should be shaken a little bit. Inhale, you're going to straighten and flex, arms up. Spin your toes to the right, hand or blocks at heart center. Inhale, puff up your chest, pelvis forward. Exhale, posterior, Padottanasana. Step the blocks off to the side. And then forward fold. Stay where you were, so you can bring your hands to the hinge of your feet. You can also clasp your hands at your sacrum for a nice chest expansion. Again, keep the weight into the balls of your feet, but keep your heels grounded so you can lengthen the backs of the hamstrings or the hamstrings up a little bit. All right, inhale, half lift, bring your hands to the blocks under your shoulders. Exhale, you'll crawl forward to a low lunge at the front of your space. Inhale, step the left foot back, plank. And then exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana, or skip your vinyasa all together. All right, you're gonna set the blocks off to the side, hands down onto the mat, and again, just notice the difference in your downward facing dog. All right, we're gonna flow through each side, breath to movement. And as we flow without the blocks, just notice how light you may feel. So again, I want you to use that so that you can find the fluidity through the movement, just like a little dance. All right, so exhale out any still air. Inhale, reach your right arm or right leg up. Exhale, low lunge, step your right foot to your right thumb tip. Inhale, high lunge, rise up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, straighten the front leg, arms up, flex the front foot. Exhale, point and bend, warrior two. 1 more time. Inhale, straighten and flex. Exhale, point and bend. This time, inhale, straighten and flex, spin your toes to the left. And then exhale, flat back, Prasarita Padottanasana. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, crawl forward, low lunge. Inhale, step back, plank pose. And then exhale, move through your vinyasa, and we'll meet back in downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, high lunge, rise up. Exhale, open up, warrior two. Inhale, straighten and flex, arms up. Exhale, point and bend. 1 more time. Inhale, straighten and flex. Exhale, point and bend. Inhale, straighten and flex. Spin your toes to the right. Exhale, Prasarita Padottanasana. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, crawl forward, low lunge. Inhale, step the left foot back, plank. And then exhale, move through vinyasa or meet in downward facing dog. All right, drop your knees down, come into a child's pose, and we'll rest for 3 rounds of breath. Okay, then come up to sit whenever you're ready. All right, I hope you all are doing well. We're gonna come into an inversion practice, and specifically a headstand, and I'm gonna give you an option. You can come up to headstand if you want, but we've been working on that pelvic tilt, and I wanna use that to show you possibly how to pike up into a headstand with both legs. So if you want to watch, do so. If you want to go into your headstand practice, again, feel free to do that as well. So I'm going to face my wall. What you're going to do is set yourself up into a headstand. So your your elbows are about shoulder width distance. You'll clasp your hands and then bring the crown of your head into the space, into that basket, into that clasp. You'll tuck your toes, lift your hips up. So you're in this somewhat of a downward facing dog, dolphin pose. And then first, press your forearms down and use that to feel little to no weight on your head. So you're activating the shoulders. And then you'll bring your feet together, and like we did with the block in between our thighs, squeeze your inner thighs. Great, so my pelvis right now is in a posterior tilt. So I'm scooping my navel in, hugging my navel in like cat pose. And then you're gonna start to hug your navel in, lift your feet up, find up anterior tilt, so a slight cow pose. And then you're gonna lift your legs all the way up, neutralize your spine, hug your navel in, squeeze your inner thighs, actively point your toes or flex to keep the legs energized. So again, as you come up with both legs, you start off in posterior tilt, so scooping your navel in, hugging the navel in, engaging the abs. And then you're gonna lift your pelvis up, anterior tilt the pelvis, and then shoot your legs up. Hug your navel in and find somewhere in between an anterior and posterior tilt, so a neutral pelvis. You can do the same thing rather than having both legs straight. You can do the same thing with both knees in your chest, so like so. Again, tilting the pelvis back and then shooting the legs up for a neutral spine. All right, so again, feel free to go into your inversion practice. I'll give you about 2 more minutes. And if inverting is not in your practice as well, should have said this earlier, feel free to come into a child's pose. Legs up the wall pose is a beautiful inversion. Gives you the same benefits with having your feet over your head or your rest of your body over your head, circulation to the brain. Great, so any of that. I'm going to take child's pose. And wherever you are, slowly start to make your way down. And once you're down, we're gonna meet seated. We're gonna come into a Janu Shirshasana shape. So set your blocks off to the side. Have them to the back of your space. We may use them a little bit later. But you're gonna take your blanket or your towel, fold it so that's thicker, and you're going to come to sit on the edge of that blanket so that your sits bones are back, or sits bones are forward, perineum's forward, and the flesh from your glutes is back. Great, so you're going to bend your right knee, bring the right sole of the foot to the inner left thigh. Great, and then you're going to take your left hand outside your right thigh, and then right hand behind you. On the inhale, press into your right fingertips, find a nice length in the spine. And on the exhale, you're going to extend your right arm up and overhead for a nice side body stretch. Flex the left foot, and then see if you can wrap that left waist down and underneath your right to encourage a lift of your chest. Extend through the right fingertips. You may lift off of the left thigh slightly. That's okay. Take one more inhale. One more exhale, bend a little bit deeper. Inhale, extend your arms overhead. Spin your chest to your left foot, and then exhale, fold forward. Grab for your foot, ankle, or shin. Release your head down. Forward fold. You should feel a little release in the low back. You can bend your knee, your left knee, even if you, to get even more of a little release. All right, come back up, arms overhead. And then slowly switch legs. Keep your arms overhead. Engage your navel. Right leg forward. Bring the left sole of the foot to the inner right thigh. Right hand outside your left thigh. Left hand behind you on the mat. Inhale, press into the left fingertips. Straighten out through the spine. And then exhale, extend your left arm up and overhead. And again, try to wrap the right waist down and underneath the left to encourage a lifting of the chest. Extend through the left fingertips. Flex the right foot. Inhale, reach your arms up. Spin your chest to your right foot, and then exhale, fold forward. Keep your chest aligned with your right knee. You can grab for your foot, ankle, or shin and release your head, neck down. All right, reach your arms up. Then exhale, lower your arms down. Set your blanket off to the side, and you'll start to lower on down to your back. And once you're down, have your feet planted, knees up towards the ceiling. Set yourself up for a bridge pose. Heels towards the glutes. All right, and then you're going to press down into your heels, lift your hips up. Start to shimmy your shoulders underneath you. Clasp your hands under your sacrum. And then you're in bridge pose. Now plug your forearms down to puff your chest up. And then plug your heels down to activate the thighs and see if you can lift your hips up a little bit higher. All right, take one more inhale. And then exhale, slowly lower down one vertebrae at a time. Pelvis lowers last. Okay, now bring your feet to hip width distance. Knock your knees in, constructive rest, toes in, heels out. Good. Feel release in the low back. All right, and then you'll come into a second back bend of your choice. You can take another bridge pose. You can take a supported bridge, so the block should be close towards the back of your space. Or you can come into wheel pose if that's in your practice. And again, as you come into wheel pose, notice the tilt of your spine. Keep your your abdominals engaged, And keep plugging the heels down into the floor to activate the thighs and rather than the glutes. Wherever you are, a few rounds of breath. All right, slowly start to make your way down to your back. And then bring your feet back to mat's width distance. Tee out your arms. And then you're going to start to windshield wiper your knees back and forth. So you'll heavy your knees to the left and heavy your knees to the right. The next time the knees fall to the right, keep them there. Stack your right ankle on top of your left knee and then gaze to the left and really heavy into the shape. So you should let your right ankle heavy on top of the left knee and you should feel a stretch in the left hip flexor, outer left hip as well, slight stretch. Just breathe into that space. And keep the ankle to knee connection. Lift the left knee up and you'll eagle wrap your right thigh over your left and then drop your knees over to the left. So eagle, supine twist. Gaze to the right, knees up towards your armpit. Close your eyes and again ease into the shape. You should feel lengthening in the low back. Then bring your knees back up, undo the bind. Knees come to the edges of the mat, start to windshield wiper your knees again. You're going to release in the low back. Heavy the knees to the right, and to the left. Next time the knees come to the left, keep them there. Stack your left ankle on top of your right knee. Gaze to the right, and again, heavy yourself into the shape. You should feel a stretch in the right hip flexor and the outer right hip. And then lift your knees up. Eagle wrap your left thigh over your right and then drop your knees over to the right for a eagle wrap supine twist. Gaze to the left and ease into the shape. Close your eyes, relax your face. And then bring your knees back up. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Grab for the pinky toe edges of your feet for happy baby pose. Stack your heels over your knees. You can grab for your ankles or shins if this is hard for you, but try to lower your sacrum down. Puff the chest up, so lower the shoulder, the heads of your shoulders down towards the mat as well. And then you can roll side to side, maybe straighten one leg out, maybe the other. And then you're going to bring your knees back into your chest. Hug your knees in. Bring your forehead to your knees. Squeeze every muscle in your body in. Take a nice deep inhale. And then exhale. Slowly release into final Shavasana. Final rest. Make space, make yourself comfortable, remove any props that are in the way. And then once you're there, close your eyes, heavy your body down. simply breathe and let the only motion, movement in your body be the rise and fall of your belly. And I'm going to leave you here in Shavasana. Feel free to stay as long as you'd like, and thank you so much for joining. Have a great rest of your week or weekend. Namaste. Lots of love. Thank you.